Good morning, 12th grade. We are on our third day of remote online learning. Today, we are focusing on the title, The Tragedy of Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. So we just spent the past month or so working through Acts 1 through 5 of The Tragedy of Julius Caesar. And now I'm asking you to reflect upon the title. And so we're going to do some work around thinking about titles that we've seen in books or movies before and how they're powerful and why they're important. And then I'm going to ask you to consider the title of Julius Caesar. Let me just share my screen with you. So in our first slide, we have the topic, what's a title? And I'm asking you to consider, as I just said, the title of The Tragedy of Julius Caesar. After our mindful minute, which if you're in the live session, we will take as a group. If not, please take a mindful minute at some point during the day for yourself. It's super important. There is an article called The Power of a Really, Really Good Title. So you can access this document by clicking in the slide on the link and it will come up here, or I've also attached it into the stream as its own separate document. So I have right here, technical difficulty. Okay, The Power of a Really, Really Good Book title. So this document just goes through, it's a super short document, but it just asks us to consider the titles of books or movies that we've read and just thinking about what's significant, if anything, about the title. So Julia Graper, I believe is her last name, Graper, she turned the question to a couple of other people in her workplace and asked them about great titles that they have found and why they chose that title as being great or powerful or important. And I really want you to think about when an author or a playwright goes to title their work, it's a pretty important decision because that's essentially the thing that's identifying this work, right? So in considering our title, The Tragedy of Julius Caesar, I want you to think about, do you believe that this is the best title for the play? Why or why not? I'm not saying that it is or it's not one way or the other. I'm asking you to consider what you believe and why you think that. So the rubric I have attached here, first, what does it mean for something to be deemed tragic or for something to be considered a tragedy? I want you to think about the level of importance that Julius Caesar has in the play. I want you to determine the importance of other characters in the play, the level of their importance. And right, those levels might be different. They might be higher or lower depending on what your thinking process is here. If you believe Shakespeare's title to be appropriate and sufficient, I want you to explain why. And you should make note of the 3 other bullet points above you. That's a 6-point piece. The other part of this is, if you don't believe that The Tragedy of Julius Caesar is the most appropriate title, you need to not only explain why in referencing those 3 other bullet points, right? But I need you to provide a new title. And that is also worth 6 points. So it's a 16-point response. It's 3 points for each of the first bullet points, 3, 3, and 3. That's 9. And then you get 6 points for supporting the title and why you believe that that's the best, or choosing a new title and explaining why you believe that there's a more appropriate, a stronger, a better title for this play that we just spent the past month and a half reading. Okay, so please make sure that you first and foremost read through the sample document here and just get some perspective. Also, I'm encouraging you to think about maybe some of your favorite books or movies or TV shows, right, that you've watched or read. What makes that title for that series or title for that book or movie super important, right? And when you reference it, you use the title to reference it. So titles are important and they do serve a purpose. Today, we're just kind of weathering through what we think in terms of the tragedy of Julius Caesar. Again, if you guys have any questions, shoot me an email. and the response should be uploaded to Google Classroom by the end of the day. All right, guys, thanks.